Amy Baxter, editor of Retail Leader, and welcome to Trend Talk. Every week on Trend Talk, we identify a trend across the retail industry and give it a deep dive with an industry insider. This week, we're talking about the top pandemic shopping trends in grocery. And with me today is Gina Acosta, executive editor of Progressive Grocer. Gina is a grocery expert and is self-described as obsessed with grocery stores and food retailers, so she's the perfect person to tell us about the top pandemic trends in this space. So welcome, Gina. Could you introduce yourself a little bit?
Yeah, thank you, Amy. It's an honor for me to be here. I could talk about grocery all day, all night, 24/7, 365. So thanks so much for having me. I'm the executive editor of Progressive Grocer, as Amy mentioned. I'm also the director of a program called Top Women in Grocery, which recognizes, excellence and women in grocery every year. And this year is our 15th year. So that's me.
Awesome. Well, I'd love to start out with an overview of the top pandemic shopping trends. And I'm wondering if you could identify just a couple of or a few shopper behaviors that you've seen that have appeared during the pandemic.
So absolutely. So probably the most kind of negative and disturbing one for me, I'm the kind of person who loves to go to a grocery store and just stroll and look at everything and just spend 2 hours in there studying everything. But, the American consumer became terrified of going to the grocery store. So that was something that was very new to the industry. And as a result of that, that led to another trend, which was e-commerce, right? So the consumer started shopping online for groceries and all of that massively accelerated. Consumers also felt kind of like stressed about the pandemic. So they started eating, instead of, avocado smoothies, they started buying a lot of Oreos and other, snack food that's, seen as indulgent.
Right.
So there was a lot of that going on. In terms of like delivery, going back to e-commerce, there was a lot of delivery, a lot of pickup in store. And that's just, off the top of my head, it's just some of the things that were going on during the pandemic.
Yeah. Which of those do you think are the stickiest from trends or likely to stick around for the long haul?
So I think that the stickiest is more than likely going to be e-commerce, because I think that the consumer has become not only accustomed, but also they're really happy with the time that they're saving, not doing their own grocery shopping and having somebody else pick their avocados and their bananas. At the beginning, there was a lot of, sort of like, well, will the consumer be okay with somebody else picking their avocado, their banana? And it turns out that a lot of consumers are totally okay with that. And the trade-off being, saving time and not having to get in the car or get on the train or the bus or whatever to go to the grocery store. Yeah. So I think that that's definitely going to stick.
Awesome. How do you think grocers responded to the rapidly shifting environment throughout the pandemic? And did you see any retailers stand out to you as leaders in this scramble to adapt to these changing consumer behaviors?
So I think they all responded, tremendously to, just unprecedented, incredible challenges. Off the top of my head, some of the retailers that I think did an amazing job were, retailers like Kroger, which almost immediately after the crisis was declared, put out a blueprint for businesses to follow during the pandemic. It was like this I don't remember how many pages it was exactly, but multi-page blueprint for businesses, which was amazing. And all throughout the pandemic, they have just been incredible, from increasing wages to for frontline workers, to, their vaccination programs. They were an early adopter of the drive-through testing and also drive-through vaccinations. Other companies that I would mention are, HEB, which put into place a pandemic response plan that they had actually created 10 years before this COVID situation. So they were extremely ready over there in Texas. So HEB did an amazing job. Publix, Wegmans went into action, on their tremendous food service operation by setting up, by making it easier for consumers to order their amazing food service offering online, and not only be able to order it online and pick it up in store, but also, they created these little drive-through stations in their stores so that you could order a pizza on the Wegmans app and then just drive through and pick up the pizza curbside, which was amazing. So those are just a few of the examples that I can think of.
So with those responses, like a lot of those cost a lot of money. I think there's one recent report from the Food Industry Association that the pandemic related expensive for food retailers was $24 billion.
Yep.
So what are some of the risks for those retailers that had to invest really heavily to adapt to, what was needed?
Yeah. So it's, there's been a bit of experimentation going on in the grocery industry for a while. And, experimentation is always risky.
Mm-hmm.
And Kroger is another, good example of that. They're opening all of these customer fulfillment centers across the country, thinking that people are going to want to order their groceries online and then just have them delivered from these fulfillment centers, robotic fulfillment centers. So, there is a lot of risk. A lot of people are wondering, is it going to work for Kroger? Is it not? But I think that the direction that we're going is, e-commerce and grocery e-commerce. So I think that they will reap at least some reward, from all of that experimentation and innovation that they're doing.
Yeah. And I guess the risk is also like not doing anything, right?
Yeah, you can't. Yep, you can't. You have to keep, because everything is changing so fast, from consumer behavior to technology. It's all changing so fast. You have to keep up.
Yeah.
If you're a retailer.
Yeah. So at the same time, things are starting to return to normal a little bit. This week was the CDC's big announcement that vaccinated people don't have to wear masks indoors anymore.
Yes, so, I've been making I've been texting my colleagues, okay, let's, place our bets now. Which retailer is going to be the first to say that, to get rid of their mask mandate in store? And nobody's done it yet. No retailer has come out yet. I think Walgreens and a couple of other companies have said that they're, reviewing their policies, but nobody's come out and Anyway, sorry to interrupt you, but
no, that's great. And then, so I'm wondering, like, as things are returning to normal, why retailers are so confident that online, whether that's grocery delivery or BOPIS, buy online, pick up in store, will continue to be so popular, or if there will just be this rush back to picking out your own avocados and filling your own carts.
I think that it's just been like an acceleration of what was already coming. So, there's a lot of people who are fine, and have gotten used to over the past year. It's been a while, and it's been more than a year. So they've gotten used to the grocery delivery thing and the grocery pickup thing, and they like it, So I think that retailers are confident in that data. And at the same time, they know that a lot of people miss going to the grocery store and strolling and not feeling rushed and terrified and like they need to get out of there in 5 or 10 minutes. And they miss that grocery experience. So a lot of retailers are actually remodeling stores and, bringing back, the hot bars and the salad bars, bringing back that food service operation, because they think that, a lot of those they basically have to sort of appeal to everyone at this point. Mm-hmm. They really have to become, what they always were supposed to be, which was an omni-channel retailer, right? Providing an amazing customer experience online and provide, for the customer who wants to shop online, and providing an amazing experience in store for the customer that wants to go to the store.
Right. Yeah. Another recent buzzword that I've been hearing about is the revenge shopper. And I'm not totally sure if this applies to grocery, but could you tell us what that is?
Yeah, so it does. I think it totally applies to grocery because like I just mentioned, there's people who really miss just gradually, slowly grabbing their shopping cart and looking at all the different apples, and this kind of sounds like myself, but whatever. And, looking at, all the different meal kits that they've got now and the different, products, and there's so much plant-based innovation going on in the aisles. So there's a lot of people that miss that, especially consumers who have access to, retailers like Wegmans, retailers like H-E-B, retailers like Publix, retailers like Kroger, who just have really, really, really nice stores and provide a nice experience. So I think that there is going to be revenge shopping in grocery, but maybe it'll just be like, okay, I'm going to go and buy everything at the hot bar today because I haven't been able to buy anything at the hot bar, for more than a year. So.
Yeah. And
That's
I
what
think for me, it would be those impulse buys that I always like see something that it's not on my list, but it just looks too good or interesting to try.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
like new products, I feel like too could be interesting for the revenge shop, or just returning stores in general could be the new target area.
Right. Right.
And then lastly, I just want to ask you, what are your top predictions for future shopping trends?
So, it's interesting. The first one I think you'll find a little weird, which is that there's a lot of people who are not going to be going back to offices anymore. There's a lot of companies, that are going to just decide to close their offices and just have people work remotely. And so that's going to affect a lot of the share of stomach or grocery or meal occasions that retailers used to leverage in urban areas, or areas with a lot of offices and commercial space. So I think that's going to be an interesting trend, that realignment for grocery retailers, sort of deciding whether they really want to be in those areas anymore, or whether they need to be locating out in the suburbs, or where people are living and working from. A lot of people are going to be working from home going forward, I think. So that's a top one. Obviously, the grocery e-commerce thing is going to continue to accelerate, is going to continue to grow, but it's going to be different. Like I mentioned before, the Kroger customer fulfillment center model, that's really interesting. Instead of having a model where you're delivering from a grocery store, or you're delivering, if you're Amazon, you're delivering from a fulfillment center somewhere else, or somewhere like far away from a grocery store. These fulfillment centers that Kroger is opening are just cold storage grocery fulfillment centers, and they're going to actually have trucks delivering from there. So that's an interesting trend, and I wonder if that's something that's going to expand or be adopted by other grocery retailers.
That's super interesting.
Yeah, it is. And there's one that just opened not too long ago. I think it was like a month ago, in the Orlando area. So Kroger is now doing things in Florida, which is interesting. They haven't been in Florida except for one Harris Teeter store in the Jacksonville area. But what else? Plant-based is going to continue to grow because, of all the sustainability issues and concerns that people have about the impacts of animal products and consumption of animal products and consumption of seafood as well. So I think plant-based is going to continue to grow tremendously.
Awesome. Cool. Great. I think that's cool that they're Kroger's taking a little leaf out of Amazon's sort of lead.
Yep.
It makes
and
it so
Amazon,
fun. I've heard it's also a bit of a race for space in that regard too, for the warehouse space or the fulfillment space.
Amazon just expanded nationwide their garage grocery delivery program, which is really interesting. I don't know how, they said that the pilot was really successful. So maybe people, like, they got used to other people buying their avocados. People are going to get used to having their groceries, delivered to their garages.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are just a few of the things that I think we'll see going forward. Will stick.
Awesome. Thanks so much. It'd be very fun to watch for sure. As innovations are coming out.
Absolutely.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, Gina, for your insights. And that's going to do it for us this week on Trend Talk. And we'll see you back here next week with another retail trend.